What is up, everybody? It's Justin here at S&K Greenhouse. Today I wanted to give you a little bit of a garden center tour. We just got in a lot of cool shrubs and trees, and we're getting into that time where, we're almost halfway through August, and it's about to be shrub and tree season, prime time for planting those. So I want to go ahead and show you some of the new shrubs we got in. We're not going to go into the greenhouse today because it's kind of cleaned out. We're about to get our mums in, and it's going to fill the whole thing up, so not much to look at in there. But let's go ahead and start here with this sunshine ligustrum. This is one of my favorite shrubs. This is an evergreen. I didn't think it would keep its leaves through the winter, but last year we had some sitting out and they stayed bright gold all winter long. These are going to be more of a 4 to 5 foot shrub. There probably will be some pruning involved to keep it that height, but this is a great shrub to brighten up spaces. It pairs really well with darker green or purple looking shrubs, and outstanding in the landscape. Right up above it, before we go too far, is Fire Chief Arborvitae. I am super excited to get this one back in stock. This is a slow growing arborvitae that's going to reach a height of about 3 feet, and it keeps this orange red color pretty much all the time. The red will become more robust through the winter time, and then on the interior you have this more lime green color, so the two tones really make it an outstanding looking shrub. And I don't know if you guys have seen the new blush nandina Southern Living came out with a couple years ago. This is basically replacing the firepower nandina. It's a lot more compact. It grows way more dense, and it's still going to have that nice blushy pink tone in the wintertime. And this is going to cap out around 3 feet. These are my two favorite arborvitaes other than the Fire Chief. I guess I just like all arborvitaes just because they look cool. They're evergreens. This one's Het's Midget. This one is Golden Globe. Golden Globe's going to be more of a 3 to 4 foot shrub. Het's Midget is going to be more of a 2 to 3 foot shrub. But the beauty of these two arborvitaes, they require no pruning. They naturally grow in these globe shapes. These have not been pruned. And just look how manicured they look. Great shrubs. And right beside the Golden Globe, we strategically put these beside the Golden Globe because of the contrast. That looks so good in the landscape. This is not your grandma's loropetalum. This is Cerise Charm loropetalum, and it's an improved loropetalum in that it grows a lot more dense and full and compact. This is not going to grow into the big huge tree loropetalums. This one's going to stay around 3 or 4 foot tall. Yes, it might require a little bit of pruning to keep it there, and of course it's going to have those beautiful pink fringe blooms in the early springtime. Moving right along, I think this one really is my favorite arborvitae. This is Forever Goldie. It's a slow grower. You can grow it in containers or out in the landscape. It's really great to put on corners or smaller spaces. It keeps this gold year round. Looks just like this here in August, dead of summer, and it'll continue to look this good in the dead of winter. It's a western cedar. It's in that family, so you know how great those are. They hold up to hot weather, cooler weather, and it's going to grow about, I'm going to say, the tag says 8 feet. That's probably correct, but it's going to take some time to get it there. I'm sure you guys are familiar with these, but I'm going to point it out because a lot of people are working at home more, they're staying at home more, and they're trying to block out those pesky neighbors. The emerald green arborvitae is great for that. It's going to grow up about somewhere between the 8 and 12 foot range. It's not going to grow as big as the green giants. It's going to stay a little smaller. Yes, they're evergreen. They're going to get about 4 feet wide, and they can make a really great screen. So come over here, there's some more things I'm excited about showing you. Like this dwarf burning bush. This is from Proven Winners. It's called Fireball. And like all burning bushes, this is going to give you that bright cherry red. As the weather cools off, this will start to turn. This is considered a dwarf burning bush, but it's still going to get like 4 or 5 feet tall. That's just that for a burning bush, that is considered dwarf. So I love this one. You can also make a hedge with this. You could probably make a screen with it too, but if you're going to do that, I'd probably go with more of the standard burning bushes. And right up above it is one of my favorite ground covers. This is Snow and Summer Jasmine. You can see, come in here, the new growth is pink and it is just so beautiful. And then the old growth is more of this speckled green leaf. So you get this two-tone look. It pretty much keeps its color all winter long. It's going to spread about 3 or 4 feet and cover a lot of ground and just look beautiful. So if you need a ground cover, this one is great. Also, if you were looking for just something that stays teeny tiny, this is Blue Star Juniper. This is not the crazy juniper that's going to spread 4 or 5 feet. It's only going to get about 2 feet in width and maybe a foot tall. And of course, it's going to keep this beautiful blue foliage all winter long. All right, where are my shade gardeners at? This is Florida Sunshine Elysium. Another name for this is anise, and this is a great part sun or shade shrub. It's an evergreen. It's going to grow to about 4 feet tall. You can prune it and make shapes with it if you want, or you can just kind of let it grow wild and do its thing. But this is going to look really great in the landscape and brighten up some of those darker spaces. Moving right along, we have your Encore azaleas. This one's Autumn Embers. This one is Autumn Starburst. If you want to come in and look at the blooms on these, and then I'll tell you about these azaleas. But these are just beautiful. Look at the starburst. Look at that variegation in the bloom. Beautiful. We also have Royalty. This is a purple blooming Encore azalea. Well, I just pulled that off, but I'll show it to you. And what I love about Encore azaleas, if you don't already know about these, this is the best azaleas. These and Bloomathon, in my opinion, are the best azaleas on the market because they stay compact, unlike your older azaleas, and they bloom. Pardon the interruption, my audio briefly cut out, but what I was saying is that these Encore azaleas bloom 3 times a year. Big bloom set in the fall, which makes this way different than in the older azaleas where you just get that one big flush in the springtime. The only thing about these, they're going to perform better with part sun. They can take full sun, but I wouldn't put them in total shade. Oh, almost forgot. We got to talk about hydrangeas. This is Proven Winners Limeletta, and this thing is gorgeous. It's new and improved. The stems are stronger so that they don't fall over. We just had a ton of rain, and these are still standing up strong. This hydrangea can hold up in part sun or full sun, and it blooms on old growth or new growth, and you're going to have blooms all the way until frost. Now, I'm very biased. When it comes to a blue hydrangea, sorry, it's not blooming right now. The nurseries had pruned these back not too long ago, so they're not in bloom, but normally in a landscape at this period of time, this hydrangea would be blooming right now. But this is Rhythmic Blue Hydrangea from Proven Winners. I love this hydrangea because it grows very dense and compact. You can see how the leaves are just, you know, nice and full. You'll get blooms all the way until fall. This is a blue blooming hydrangea, but you can adjust your pH and turn it pink. The option is yours. It just depends on the acidity levels of your soil. And this one's going to do great in part sun. All right guys, it's starting to rain, but I want to show you another shrub before we get this downpour. They've been calling for thunderstorms all day, but we wanted to just go ahead and knock this video out for you guys. This is a Bilia kaleidoscope. Some of you may have seen it before. This is pretty much an evergreen. It might lose a few leaves in the wintertime, but the great thing about this is you get the tropical foliage. Also, you're going to get white blooms in the spring. So when you pair this to, say, a lower petalum in the landscape, this just looks spectacular. This is going to grow up about 3 foot tall and 3 foot wide. All right, we had to come inside from the rain. It was starting to really come down. I said we wasn't going in the greenhouse, but I forgot these maples are in here. This is shade maples, not Japanese maples. So these are good if you have a lot of space in your yard. Maybe you want a shade tree. This is a red point maple. This is one of the most popular shade maples because it's very disease resistant, it's very heat tolerant and cold tolerant. Not to mention it's going to have brilliant red leaves when the weather cools off. And the leaves are actually pretty good at hanging on there. So you're going to get a lot of color for a good while. It's going to grow about 40 feet tall and somewhere around 30 feet wide. So it's going to get pretty large, but not as big as the October Glory. And this is another beautiful shade tree. It's going to get even larger, about 40 feet tall, 40 feet wide, could get even bigger over time, but it turns a fantastic, I'm trying to use more adjectives here, orange color in the fall. It's beautiful. I'll put it on the screen what it looks like now. And finally, we have the Brandywine maple. And this one's not going to get quite as big, but it's still going to provide you with plenty of shade. It's going to get about 35 feet tall, 20 feet wide. And in the fall, it's going to turn this darker burgundy / purple color. It is absolutely stunning. Your neighbors are going to be super jealous when they see this tree. I love this one. All right, right beside it here, this is not a shade tree. This is a weeping redbud called Ruby Falls. And I wanted to point this out because if you have, maybe you want a tree on the corner of your house, or maybe you have a smaller landscape, this tree's not going to get any taller because the top leader has already been trained to come back down. So it's just going to get fuller, no taller. But what I love about this tree, like all red buds, it's going to bloom those neon purple blooms in the springtime, but the rest of the year, you're going to get this purple foliage. And to me, this is one of my favorite red buds. You can grow this in part sun, full sun. It'll even tolerate a lot of shade. All right, folks, that wraps up our garden tour. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell. That way you'll get future updates every time we release a new video. And until next time, become a plant person.